Hi, and welcome to this video where I am going to cover the anatomy of a Creative Commons license. My name is Jennifer Schaller, and I am using material adapted from Unit 3 of the Creative Commons certificate class to make this video. So this video is licensed the CBY 4.0. Now you might be wondering what's inside those licenses. Is it very similar to this cake, those layers? It's not frosting, though that would be delicious. Layers. The Creative Commons licenses have layers in common with cake. So there's 3 layers to the Creative Commons license. We have the legal code, the human readable aspect, and the machine readable aspect of a Creative Commons license. So the legal code is the lawyer readable terms and conditions that are legally enforceable in court. Those are written for a court audience and they are hard to decipher. That's why, in addition to the legal code of the license, there is also a human readable aspect. Each license has its own page on the Creative Commons website, and it explains the permissions associated with a Creative Commons license. This human readable deed, the common deed, is not legally enforceable. It just summarizes the legal code so that you, the creator of a CC work, will know how people can use your work. Lastly, there is the machine readable part of the Creative Commons license. So within the license, if you are creating it on a website like the Creative Commons Chooser webpage, then it will embed some code into the license. And when it does that, it allows for websites, web services, and search engines to identify and filter your results based on the license that someone specified. So in Google, you can actually search by the type of license. And if you place a Creative Commons enabled license onto your work, then search engines will be able to find that material. So I wanted to also kind of show you the Choose a License page on the Creative Commons website. So this is creativecommons.org/choose. And then here you can make your own license to apply to your work. So you'll figure out what are the adaptations of your work that you want to be shared. Do you want to let other people use it? You can put yes. Do you want to allow commercial uses of your work? Sure. And then go ahead and let them try to make money off of this Creative Commons video. That would be hilarious. So what I want is a CC BY license. And then what you can do is, when I was creating the license for this video, I wrote an anatomy of a CC license, which is the title. I put my name, and then I don't have a URL yet because I haven't uploaded this onto YouTube. And then we could also attribute the work to the original URL. So I actually got this material from this Creative Commons certificate class. I could put that URL in the Choose a License, attribute work to this, and okay. So whatever I fill in over here, it kind of fills out over here on the right side. I can copy this and place it into like a web page, whatever materials that I'm creating, and then machines will be able to find it in their searches. So here's actually an example of what that can look like. So this is a web page that I am creating on a platform called Canvas, and I have a CC BY license in here. So whenever you're in a web editor and you're making a web page, there's this easy to read, like forward facing, it defaults to this, right? What you see is what you get. If you click down here, it'll show you what this looks like in code. So whenever Creative Commons creates one of those little licenses for you, embedded within it is this code that machines can read, and they can filter and find material. So this is your raw HTML editor. So whenever you create a license from here, within it will be embedded this materials, and it'll make it easier for people to find your stuff. So I just wanted to show you that, to show you kind of like, because I always wondered how do these layers work? So I wanted to show you how the layers work in the Creative Commons licenses. And then we also have elements for the licenses. So there are different elements within your Creative Commons license. So first off, we have your Creative Commons designation. So every Creative Commons license tells you it's Creative Commons with this little CC designation. BY, that is the icon here, and it shows the reader that if you use Creative Commons licensed work, you need to attribute it. So if you see material that has that, it just means attribute, and all the licenses require attribution. SA, if you see this on a Creative Commons license, that means that the creator of the work wanted to allow you to adapt their work, but if you do adapt it and relicense it, it needs to have a similar license that's neither more restrictive or less restrictive than the original. So they just want for people to access their material in the way that they initially intended it. NC, this little $ crossed out, means non-commercial use. So if you find material that you want to use, you have to make sure that you're not going to make money off of it. So definitely, and then also it can be a little bit tricky because like what is non-commercial, the definition of non-commercial is a little bit vague, like in the copyright law. So err on this side of being super careful, overly careful when you're using NC materials. And then ND, this little equal sign means no derivatives. So if you want for someone to use your work, but you don't want them to change it, then this is the signifier that you would want on your Creative Commons license. That means that you want people to use it and read it, but you just don't want them to change it in any way. And then these are the Creative Commons licenses. So you put those little icons together, and then you get these different licenses. There's 6 Creative Commons licenses. So CC BY allows you, it's the most free, I guess, license. You can remix, adapt, and build CC BY materials in any medium or format. You just need to attribute it. This license means you can do all the things you can with the CC BY, except if you adapt and you relicense the work, make the license similar, not more or less restrictive. And then right here, this license has the same requirements as the CC BY, but if you build upon or adapt the material, it has to be for non-commercial purposes only. And these are the last 3 Creative Commons licenses. So this license is like CC BY NC on the previous page, except if you remix, adapt, or build upon the material, you need to have a similar license. This license allows you to copy and distribute the material, but it doesn't allow you to adapt it. So if you see this one, it means don't change my material. And adaptation can come in different formats. So like, whoopsies, I didn't want to do that. Okay, so like adaptation even includes if you find music on the web that's Creative Commons license. If it has the ND on it, that means you can't change it. And changing it includes putting it inside of a video because you're changing the format of it. And it would be considered legally a derivative work, even though you're using the material and you're not changing the music, you're still changing the way that it's being delivered. And then this is the most restrictive license. It requires attribution, allows reusers to copy and distribute only for non-commercial purposes. So you cannot charge for these Creative Commons materials, but you can copy them and give them to your students. So another aspect of using open materials is the public domain. So your intellectual property that's in the public domain, for example, the Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci, it also has some elements that you just might want to know about if you're using intellectual property in the public domain. So this right here, this little license, or it's not a license, it's a signifier, means that the material is free of copyright restriction. The public domain mark has no legal effect when applied to a work. It's just a label to let people know that it's in the public domain. And then museums, libraries, and archives might use this sort of like designation to let people know how it can be used. And then this is the CC0 public domain signifier. So CC0 allows creators to dedicate their works to the worldwide public domain to the greatest extent possible. Applying CC0 to your intellectual property means you would like to relinquish all copyright and similar rights that you hold in a work, so you can dedicate those rights to the public domain. And limitations to copyright and CC. Creative Commons supports the copyright system, and it balances the rights, which balances the rights of creators and the rights of users and the general public. But there are some limitations to what copyright allows. So if you have a material that has copyright limitations and it is Creative Commons license, the copyright limitations will still apply. So fair use applies to both copyrighted material and CC licensed material. Lastly, regional laws might change the way a copyright works. So in those cases, the rights that you are allowed might depend on that specific country and their copyright laws. So you want to be careful that you, if you're using work from abroad, that you are not violating any of their copyright laws. Go ahead and just look those up for good measure. A little copyright clue for you. And thanks for watching. So if you would like to know more about OER, I work at the University of New Mexico. You can find out more information at oer.unm.edu. Thanks for watching.